Hi everyone. Welcome to the fifth episode of Successful Women. Today, I'm delighted to welcome a very talented person to our show. She's currently an Erasmus Mundus scholar who is deeply passionate about issues regarding gender and caste, and she aspires for an academic career in development studies. She has consistently performed well in academics and co-curriculars, securing numerous awards and scholarships, including recognition from UNESCAP, Chief Minister's Award, and Special Jury Award by the Government of Kerala, European Union Scholarship, All India Rank for School Education, and Ambedkar Scholarship. Her research and volunteer work piqued her interest during bachelor's in economics and consequently building her personal milestones around it. She completed a master's in applied economics from Center for Development Studies, a specialized research institute. After completion of her degree, she decided to specialize in gender issues and was selected for the prestigious Erasmus Mundus Scholarship for double masters in women and gender studies from the University of York and the University of Oviedo. She is none other than Miss Uthara Geetha. Welcome, Miss Uthara Geetha.
Thank you so much, Amala. Thank you.
So, Miss Uttara, let us start from with your journey first. So, how was your upbringing like, and how did you become an Erasmus Mundus scholar?
So I would like to start with my mom first because I've always had presence of strong women around my life. Be it my sister, be it my mom, be it my grandmom, we all have been working women. They've all been very focused on their education. And I still remember when we used to think about what we have to begin, like in Indian households, right? Like they ask you, what do you want to become? And you're in second standard or third standard. My mom always used to tell us, you can choose anything, but just be the best in it. Like follow your heart, but make sure that you're best at it. So that's how we were brought up. We had enough leverage, we had enough creative space, and we could make individual decisions, and that's how we ended up. So my sister as well was given enough freedom to choose what we like, and we were lucky enough to pursue it, especially in the Indian context where you have this predestined life. Like if your father is a doctor, you become a doctor, and the hereditary stuff. But like I was lucky enough to have parents, even my father, who were both supportive to whatever we wanted to do. And my cousins are all doctors and engineers, and it's just me and my sister who took arts or humanities to pursue. And so we also had this fire in us that we had to be good to meet the standards. We have to be extremely good to meet the standards to come equally with the other streams. So, and also when you are surrounded by strong women in your family, and like when you become independent, and when you are vocal about stuff in any society, you start to notice gender. And that's how I became interested, be it household dynamics, how a family is conducted, or just I studied in a women's college. The idea of a women's college itself in the society and its place, is it needed or not needed? That's another question. That depends on the society. But gender is very important. Like when we fill like a basic form, it is there. So it's very hard to ignore nowadays, at least when we're exposed to all this. So yeah, that's how my journey started. I was brought up like that as a feminist without knowing that I was a feminist. And then yeah, I ended up, and I was so sure that I'm passionate about gender and as well as caste, which is another major inequality in India. So both gender and caste has been my passion, and it takes a little bit of sacrifice to pursue these because other streams are very easily available, and people persuade you to pursue that. But yeah, like this family support is very important. Your hard work and consistency is the key.
Yes. So, you're specialized in women and gender studies. What exactly led you to specialize in this? Because you have done your bachelor's in economics and then a direct shift towards women and gender studies.
So yeah, so I took my stream was humanities in 12th standard, and then I equally loved history, English, and economics. And I think I had same more or less the same marks for all of it, and I was very confused what to take. And then everyone was like, "Economics is really good. You have lot more job opportunities." And I was like, "Yes," and I really liked it. And then I did my BA, and I was more interested research and everything. I did my BA in St. Lucis, and then I went to CDS, which is a very research oriented institute. So there, the faculty encourages you to pursue what you want. So when you go to a research institute, you understand the vastness of research. Like it's not just one thing. Economics is not just about numbers. It has so much of gender in it. It has so much of family dynamics in it. It has so much of development in it. So I think the professors there from CDS, I have to mention two by name, Dr. J. Devika and Dr. Pravina Kodal. They used to take gender and development and history of economics, and their papers were so enlightening. Like I, you understand your calling, right? You're like, oh, this is what I wanted to. So it's not like I left economics, but I was so interested in gender and development and gender and economics that I understood how everything is now interdisciplinary, and you can pursue what you want within streams. It's just specialization. So because of constraints to pursue women's studies, because during my time when I was doing it, a lot of centers were getting cut down, women's studies. So I thought I need to study this more because I only had 1 or 2 semesters where I studied gender, and I need to know more because I'm a person who wants to do PhD in gender and development. So maybe I need to get like more focus and learn more, read more, take time more. So I thought it's better to do another master's where you get funding, you're paid to read, which is absolutely wonderful. So that's how I ended up choosing this course.
So, you are an Erasmus Mundus scholar, and I am sure it's a very prestigious scholarship program. But I think many of them are unaware about what this program exactly is. So, could you explain to our viewers how did you become part of this program and what this program exactly is?
So Erasmus Mundus has multiple scholarships in multiple fields. So it has in development, it has in gender, it has in advertising. So it offers a lot of scholarship. You go to their site and you can get information. So I got to know about this from my seniors who has been in Erasmus Mundus fellowships. So when I was after my first master's degree, I was like, I have to go abroad, but I don't want to fund myself because it's huge amounts.
Yes.
And especially for non-vocational where you don't have a contract or job attached to it, it's even more expensive. So I was looking for scholarships, and that's one thing I have to say. Like, if you want to pursue studies abroad, try maximum no to self fund because there are a lot of opportunities. Even if you lose few months, even if you lose few days, it makes a huge difference. I had friends who went to foreign universities and they came back and they worked their years here trying to pay back the loans, which is something I didn't want to do. So I kept asking people. I visited umpteen sites, and I have a checklist. I'm a mistress of checklist. So I made a lot of checklists, and I was seeing, and Erasmus Mundus caught my eye because it's a 2 years masters. Usually European masters are like 1 year. So this is a 2 years masters, and it's split between two countries, and you can choose the countries. So it has UK, it had Austria, it had Italy, it had Spain. So it had a vast selections. So yeah, I chose what I like UK because we have more historical connection, and they know more about India. So UK and then Spain because the culture is so different. So I wanted, and the feminist movement, especially because of their link between Latin America, the feminist movements are amazing. Okay. So the Hispanic feminist movement. So I thought, yes, I'll take those two. So that's how I went to University of York and University of Oviedo. And the good thing about the scholarship is not only do they cover tuition fee, they cover your accommodation. as in they pay for you. You have to find the accommodation yourself, but they pay for you. So you get a stipend of around 1,000 pounds a month, which is enough and more. Like when we think, 1,000 rupees is nothing, but like, it's like enough and more there. And in UK, you might not have so much to spend, but in other European countries, because it's very expensive place, but in other European countries, you can even save. So yeah, it was a wonderful experience, and I recommend all of you to check out European Commission scholarships and other scholarships,
Yes.
even shielding.
As we know, studying in a different country has many challenges. So, what were some of the problems that you faced while doing your studies, especially in two countries, and how did you overcome these?
So let me first talk about UK. UK was very different and very similar because there's a lot of Indians. So it's easy to find, an Indian community where you feel at home. But also it's very different in terms of weather. It's very different in terms of food, and it's very different in terms of accommodation and even culture. So here, our parents kind of make our lives a lot easier, and you don't have to maintain the work life balance, because you until you get a job you are their kid, right? But when you go abroad, you have to do it all yourself. So if you're not if you choose to stay outside the campus, you have to cook. It's not a big deal. We should learn it, but still we have to cook and handle, and weather is very quite different. So I'm not used to studying when it's cold. So in some places it gets very chilly, but like if you're home, it's fine. But some people can't study at home. They need like a proper place. So you go to the library. They have great libraries, which is open like almost like till late night or like 24 hours. And one thing I noticed is the differences, the culture, how we are a communal people, and in Europe it's more individualistic. So you have more freedom, but you also lack that support, but you can get it from other people. International students always stick together, and it's wonderful. But I think we can also learn something from them, like how they budget, how saying no is completely okay. So here it's very hard for us to say no to a friend, right? We kind of try to accommodate, but it's taken as okay. So if you don't want to come, it's fine. We'll meet another day. So that is all, good, but you need to have, you need to find a middle ground where you feel comfortable, but you also push yourself to learn more. Another thing is the mode of studying. So here we are more used to exams, right? Even at master's level, but there it is essays, and you do your own pieces. So it's your piece of work. So you take something which you're interested in and you write. So in order to write that, you need to read, which I think is how education should be, rather than learning, being like jack of all trades and master of none. This is really good. And so I found a lot of Indian students struggling with it. They're like, oh, how do they expect us to just write anything? So, like, if you are planning to go abroad, keep that in mind. And, what I did was when I went, I already downloaded the reading list of the course just to see the authors. And I started reading it, like, whenever I got free time, and the books and everything. So you're familiar. You start learning and reading on your own. So yeah, the mode of study is different, and how you interact with the teachers are also quite different. So here it's all ma'am, sir, and everything. There it's like you have to call their names, which kind of is awkward for us, but it's they will feel awkward if we call them ma'am or sir or anything. But yeah, and also you can it's also very different. Like here, there's more like motherly, fatherly affection the teachers show towards us. That's not there. Not like, obviously, individually it differs, but they are more like professional. Be on time. Deadline is very important, not even 1 minute. So it's all computerized. You can't log in your assignment after 5 minutes. So yeah, you have to keep all this in mind. But it's nothing very hard. It's all like, you learn on the job training, like you learn while you are a student there. It's very simple.
Yes. Ms. Uthara, many parents, especially Indian parents, are unwilling to send their children abroad due to the fear that the children will move away from that their families and their responsibility. What do you think about this?
I don't know. Like, I think I cannot agree with that. So I was trying to think of a nice way to say it. I do not agree with that because I've seen, like, with from my example and my friends, you go abroad and you realize how much your parents have been doing stuff for you. You realize the importance of, time. You realize the importance of money. You realize the importance of support. So I think you kind of become more responsible. So Indian parents kind of think you becoming more responsible and more independent is moving away from them. It's definitely not. When I came back, I was so happy to be home, and my mom was also kind of. She was like, "There's a change in you." I'm not saying it's bad because she was very happy that I'm doing more on my own, and she had less to do. So you become more responsible. You handle like a whole life uh, uh, alone, and and it's also very different kind of a life. And like world is so small right now. It's a global world, and you can come home and you can video call, and so it has nothing to do with it. Like, it's about exposure, it's about your career path. The world is extremely competitive now, so like the parents have to realize it's time to let them go and let them be their own person. But at the same time, we also have to maintain that they did so much for us. Don't lose your roots, keep your roots in and maintain that balance.
Very
But
important.
I absolutely do not believe that people move away from family, they become closer. I used to call my mom so much when I was there because I miss her. Here she is there. So like you understand the value, and it's all about growing, growing and changing and evolving. So I'll tell the parents, don't worry, they'll come back to you definitely. There's no doubt about that.
Yes, exactly. So, another issue would be a funding. So now we have talked about Erasmus Mundus scholarship, but there are some students who may lag behind in studies. So, how can they fund themselves or tackle this issue of funding?
So this is a misconception that you need really good grades to get funding.
Okay.
So there's always a cutoff for scholarships. If you qualify that, they don't look at your marks anymore. So like for each scholarship, it's different. So and for each Indian university, it would be different because they have their own conversion. So according to the grade or the level of your university, it changes. So you have to look it up. But you don't have to be a 95 plus or like 100 mark scorer to get a scholarship. It depends more on your essay and your CV and your reference, these three things.
Right.
So essays are so important. It actually kind of, that's the first thing after your CV which they look into. So they look at your CV and see the experience and what all you did. Is it just academics? Co-curricular is so important. Volunteering is very important. And when they read your essay, that's when they get to know you. It's the story about you, how and why you're applying. So I always tell people, do not copy paste SOP, like, and then do not, go for the cliche and say like, oh, I remember the class, I remember the teacher. And this is something I've read like tens, and I used to read SOPs of South Asian students. And it kind of looks 70% were all the same format. And like, oh, it takes me back to my class when I was in fifth standard. So this kind of copy pasting and formatting will not do you any favor. Be just be who you are, and try to take parts of your life academically and show your passion. For example, I started writing about my family, how it was, how gender became an issue, what I did in BA, why I chose to do MA in applied economics, and why I'm changing streams, and what all I did in between. So like it's like a progress, and it should be like well structured, but do not, the first, I'm repeating it, but I cannot stress it enough. Do not look at anyone else's SOP. So when I finished my SOP, I was so happy with it because I knew like I gave it my 100%. It's me.
Yes.
So like yeah, uh, part, also read other people's SOP. So you can go to Cambridge website, you can go to LSE's website, take the Ivy League, and then they have samples there. See the really good ones, and it inspires you. Like, so I've read many SOPs and I've seen like, these SOPs are not alike at all. They're very different. So is there like go-to format, go-to template? No. You should just fit the institute, you should just fit the scholarship that comes from your research interest. So I would suggest everyone to choose that scholarship, choose that institute which fits your interest. Always go for the best university. Do not think you won't get it. Like, marks is just cut off, it's just a qualifier. So if you have enough interest, if you have read enough, if you think this is the place you want to be, just write that, and write a magnificent essay. And also, I cannot stress the importance of maintaining a good relationship with your professors and the people, supervisors who looked after your internships and your volunteer works. Their recommendations matter a lot.
Yes.
It tells them, like, from a person's view, how you are and how well you can work with the team and how well you can represent their scholarship. That's what that matters, right? So do not just talk about your academics, talk about your volunteering work, talk about how your academics and volunteering work and your other interests align. So like, it's all you have to do a little bit of homework, get the pattern, and then it's all very easy. It all comes in the line, and then just apply. And do not think Ivy Leagues are out of my reach. Do not think, oh, I won't get here. You just keep on trying. You have nothing to lose.
Yes, exactly. So, majoring in women and gender studies, it's quite new to many students. So, what would be your advice to students who plan to major in this subject and, pursuing this course abroad?
I would say go for it, because it's I get so much opportunity just because people are amused by what I've taken.
Yes, exactly.
Because people don't know it, and they're like, oh, gender studies, what is it about? They don't even know which stream it is in India. Like, I'm not talking about academic circles, but I'm talking about people who common people, and they would be like, oh, is it in science, is it biology, is it like what is it? They're so confused, and then I explain, and they're like so happy to hear about it. They're so interested about it. And that's one aspect of it. The other aspect is job scope. So almost all international organizations, almost all government organization needs gender specialists, and they have gender consultants. In India, majorly it's people from other fields who do this work right now.
Okay.
So women who are engaged in activism. So once you have a degree in this, you have upper hand.
Yes.
Because you are already like a major, you are a specialist. So it's job wise, do not think you don't have much opportunity. Just like any other degree, you can go into academics, you can become a professor, or you can continue studying, or you can specialize in something else because it's very interdisciplinary and become a specialist, or you can go for jobs. It's like umpteen opportunities. And I think just like environmental science and environmental engineering and gender and these upcoming streams, cybersecurity, these are streams which is of the future and which is very much needed. And I think these are degrees which won't go obsolete for 30 years at least. So it's very safe, and I encourage everyone to at least go through one or two classic books, and you can see how deep the subject is. It's not just people think, oh, men, women. No, it's about the structure, it's about society, it's about inequality. So it has a lot of depth and width. So yeah, go for it.
Yes, sure. Any piece of advice to students who are planning to study overseas, especially for bachelor's, I think, undergrad students?
Undergrad students, I would say you are not too young to go, and do not be afraid to go and study abroad. This is just a starting point. Even in the first semester, if you feel like you can't do it, it's just because you just got out. Like, everyone would feel that way. You have been in this comfortable zone for so long and you're going out, but we are all brave enough to make it, and we are all intelligent enough to make it. We are all smart enough to make it, and we have the support of family. So especially, I think people should start going more and get exposure. Do not worry. Like there's no. I did the mistake of thinking, I'm too young to go when I was in bachelor's, and I was thinking about going later, or maybe for PhD, or maybe not, because I was like, oh, what's the difference and everything. But there's a lot of difference, and there's a lot of value attached. Unfortunately, when you look at like developing countries and a degree from developed countries, unfortunately, because of various stuff, like the value of a foreign degree is different, and it also shows that you can engage with people outside your comfort zone. So even when it vocationally, it has so much value. So go when you can. Your world view changes. You understand how each person, each human is so different from you, and you can learn from them, and they can learn from you. And do not feel any inhibition. Speak for yourself, stand up for yourself, and shine your light. That's it.
Yes, Miss. Thank you, Miss Uthara. It was a huge pleasure for me to interview you, and I'm sure this will be a great guidance and inspiration to many students and people who are planning to study abroad. I wish you all the best for your future endeavors as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amala. You have been very charming and very encouraging.
Thank you.
Hope all the best for your future, and I'm sure you will reach greater heights, no doubt.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thank you.